In the 1930s, Nazis, Soviet secret police, and an American-backed mystic hunted the exact same hidden Himalayan kingdom. Heinrich Himmler ordered SS officers into the mountains. They weren't there to pray. They measured skulls to validate theories of Aryan origins. Meanwhile, the Russian mystic Nicholas Rurik searched for a city of enlightened masters, while Soviet cryptographers tried harvesting Buddhist meditation techniques to engineer the perfect state citizen. Three bitter enemies, divided by extreme ideologies, spent decades risking their lives in the lethal altitudes of Tibet. They were following a map they all firmly believed was completely real. This ancient Tibetan manuscript contains the primary source for that map, a teaching called the Kalachakra Tantra. While myths of Atlantis rely on vague poetry, Shambhala comes with a 1,000-year-old paper trail. The text provides impossible precision, mapping an 8-petaled mountain valley housing an exact census of 300,510 people. In 1590 BC, a king tried forcing conversion. 20,000 priests and scholars refused, fleeing north into the snow mountains to preserve their knowledge. For a century, Western explorers treated these coordinates like a literal treasure map. That approach entirely misses the actual doctrine. Buddhist teachings state that Shambhala exists on 3 distinct levels of reality at the exact same time. Level 1 is geographical. Tibetan tradition documents Bayul, isolated valleys hidden deep within the mountain ranges that conceal small populations. The French explorer Alexandra David-Néel spent 14 years in Tibet. She concluded Shambhala likely originated from a real historical Buddhist center that was destroyed by conquest, forcing its survivors into exile. This physical concealment remains scientifically plausible. In 2014, deep penetrating radar scans revealed massive canyon systems entirely buried under the Himalayas. If 20,000 highly educated elites vanished into one of these unmapped geographical pockets 2 millennia ago, their descendants could theoretically live there today, completely cut off from the outside world. A physical location satisfies our modern scientific expectations, but finding the correct valley is useless without understanding the second layer of the teachings. Level 2 is the subtle physical plane. The kingdom occupies the exact same geographic space as our world, but it vibrates at a different dimensional frequency. Like a dog hearing a whistle or a sensor detecting ultraviolet light, the phenomenon is mathematically present but invisible. In Buddhist cosmology, the kingdom sits right in front of the explorer. They simply lack the sensory instruments to perceive it. The primary barrier separating us from Shambhala is not the brutal distance across the Tibetan plateau. The true barrier is simply perceptual blindness. Level 3 is the state of consciousness. The physical trek into the hostile altitudes of the Himalayas acts as a mirror for deep mental cultivation. When the SS officers arrived in the mountains, they brought racial ideology. Because their minds were already set, the mirror of Shambhala only reflected back skewed data to justify genocide. When the Soviet secret police attempted the exact same journey, they brought a desperate need for state control. They only saw mechanisms to engineer human behavior and weaponize consciousness. Nicholas Rurik arrived carrying a deep mystical attachment to his own importance. He left with glowing paintings and ego-driven visions that no one else could verify. The kingdom operates as a perfect reflection of the seeker. It remains entirely inaccessible to any mind corrupted by power, a desire for control, or a lack of disciplined preparation. The Kalachakra texts feature a specific timeline tied to the 25th Kalki king. It points to a profound global event, roughly around the year 2024. When the outside world finally collapses into total war and unchecked greed, the forces of Shambhala will emerge. The text defines this army as a movement of teachers who deployed dharma, wisdom, and compassion against human ignorance, substituting spiritual insight for military hardware. The texts do not predict an apocalyptic physical bloodbath. They describe a mass coordinated spiritual awakening designed to usher the world into a golden age. Modern teachers focus exclusively on this internal preparation. The Dalai Lama notes that reaching the kingdom requires more than physical travel to the Himalayas. It demands the accumulation of merit through disciplined practice. This merit represents the mental cultivation and ethical weight built through years or even lifetimes of continuous focus. As children, we read about lost cities and assume the ultimate treasure is a chest of hidden gold. As adults, we realize the real prize is developing the clarity to perceive what is already standing right in front of us. The real search concludes when the hunter becomes someone capable of entering the gates, discovering that the kingdom only reveals itself once the seeker removes the internal barriers that kept it invisible.